everybody, welcome back. My name is Chef Rob. Today we're going to make an heirloom tomato and provolone torte, and it's going to have an herb crust. We're going to take all of our dry ingredients and put it in the food processor. So let's get started. Take this top off here, make sure your blade is locked in really well and that this is in a good locked position, otherwise it will not start. So we're going to take 2 full cups of the flour, just kind of spoon it in there, just like that, and just kind of drop it in. Now 1 more cup, so a total of 2. You always want to make sure that it is nice and full, the cup too. Don't pack it though, okay? So we're going to take 2 tablespoons of sugar as well. Put this right in here. We use a little bit of kosher salt. Kosher salt, about 1/4 teaspoon. And then some fresh grinds of black pepper. Toss this right in here. And then 2 teaspoons of fresh rosemary. Oh, try to use the fresh rosemary. It will just give you such a better flavor. So it has a nice woodsy scent to it. So I like to just kind of take it right off just like this. Okay, you can always have a little rosemary tree that you can keep year round in your home. And always have fresh rosemary ready for it, any dish that you want to make. Okay, so this is about 2 teaspoons here. I'm just going to give this a nice chop. Then we're going to put this in the food processor. Going to add some butter to it as well. Going to add 1½ sticks, so that is 12 tablespoons. And I am using very cold butter, and it's unsalted butter. And then we're going to pulse it until it creates coarse crumbs. Now after we make this dough, you're going to need to let this sit in the refrigerator for at least an hour. And you could even let it sit overnight. So if this is something that you want to start one day and finish the next day, you certainly could do that. Okay, take this rosemary just like this and just put that right in here. And then with the butter, I'm just going to peel this. Remember, 1½ sticks. It's got to be very, very cold. You could even throw it in the freezer before you're ready to start. Okay, maybe even like 20 minutes ahead of time. And this will ensure that it gets really nice coarse crumbs. So I'm just going to dice this into small pieces. And just kind of flip that over. Turn this around. Just like that. Okay, put this inside. And then we're going to do the 1/2 stick and then turn on the motor and just pulse it. Have 3 eggs ready. You're going to need 2 large eggs, and then you're going to need an extra egg with just the yolk. Okay, so the white part you could save for maybe a white omelet. Okay, so we're just going to lock this on here, and we're going to pulse this until it becomes nice, moist, coarse crumbs. Just keep an eye on it. You don't want to overmix it. This is perfect. So it should just be very little pieces of butter in there. That's it. So just a couple times you need to pulse it. Okay, so we have our 3 eggs. I'm going to take 2 eggs, put them into a bowl. Just crack them right in here just like this. And then you want to separate one. You don't need as much white, so we're going to have 3 egg yolks in there and 2 of the whites. And just save that for something else. Put that right in here. Just whisk this up really well. We're going to turn on the motor, and then we just want the motor to allow the eggs to kind of form a nice ball in here. So slowly put it in here. And the moisture, the dry ingredients will come together. And it will become like a sticky ball. As soon as it gathers up just like this, that is when you want to stop. Okay, so let's take our dough out. You're going to see that it kind of forms a ball right in here. And then you're going to put this right onto a lightly floured table or work surface, anything that you are using. I'm using a little cutting board right here, so just kind of lightly dust it like that. And then make sure you get all the ingredients out. And then we're just going to kind of gently knead it, and then we're going to put it into a 9-inch springform pan. Really good to have the springform pan. It will release it later when you want to take it out of the oven and serve it. Okay, so this is a nice dough just like this. If you had a rolling pin, that's fine too, but you can keep pressing this out. Okay, I'm just going to give it a couple turns and just knead this. And then we'll start spreading it out to fit in the pan. And you want it to go in the pan about a quarter to halfway up the sides of the pan too. Okay, this dough looks and feels really good. So we are just going to lift this up, put this into the springform pan, and now just kind of press it along the sides. Again, at least a quarter up to a half-inch along the sides here. Okay. And this is going to make a really nice presentation. The heirloom tomatoes are perfect for this. You can use provolone cheese, you can use fontina cheese. Any mild cheese would be really, really good for this here. So we're going to cover this. We're going to let this in the refrigerator in a cold area towards the back, covered for about 1 hour. And again, you can leave it up to 1 full day. Okay, just like this. Make sure that the bottom of the dough nice and even, so that way when you do bake it, it is nice and evenly cooked. So we have our dough in the refrigerator. We're going to take our heirloom tomatoes. We're just going to take out the little core, and then we are just going to slice these thin, and we're going to put these onto a sheet pan. I have a little paper towel there because I want them to give up their juices. So I'm just going to slice them just like this. It's about a 1/4 inch thick. And just really spread them out really well on here. So you should have about 3 cups of tomatoes for this tart. This one here. And I got a few different color ones because this way it makes it really look like summer. So this way, if you're having company, but it just looks really nice to eat for the summertime. Okay, yellow one. And we'll cut this up the same way. Okay, and then we'll finish our last tomato. Put this on the tray. And these can sit about a half hour to give up their juices. Again, you want about 3 cups worth. And we're just going to thinly slice this one as well. Now, next, while the tart is in the refrigerator, you can take some cheese, whatever cheese you're using, provolone, fontina, and you can start slicing that up, okay? Just take a box grater and just kind of grate that right up. Okay, we're going to sprinkle this with a little bit of kosher salt right on top of here, and just let them sit. Okay, so we're just grating our provolone right here, and with the provolone, again, you want 3 cups of it, and then we're going to add a ½ cup of grated Pecorino Romano or Parmesan cheese. Either one would work fine with this. And then have another teaspoon of rosemary ready to chop up and add right in with the cheese. Okay, so this is right around the 3 cups. Here is our ½ cup of the Pecorino Romano I'm going to save about a tablespoon's worth and use that a little bit later on. I'll put that right back in there. Just give this a good toss, just like this. And I'm going to take a little bit more of the rosemary and just chop that up, about a teaspoon. So you need 3 teaspoons total for this recipe of fresh rosemary. Usually if you buy those little packets in the refrigerator, that will be more than enough. Okay, just sprinkle that right on here, just like this. And just give that a good toss and set that to the side. So our dough is nice and firm. I left it in there for about an hour and a half, so very, very solid. Okay, so just leave it like this. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take some panko, just about a tablespoon of panko. These are the Japanese breadcrumbs, and just kind of lightly scatter it on the bottom. And you're going to still need some more panko in a little bit. So now we have our heirloom tomatoes right here. I want to pat these dry and get, or as dry as I can get it, to get any moisture I can get off of this. We're going to take about 1/3 of these tomatoes, and again I used a few different colors to make it look really, really pretty for summer. So I'm just taking this off. You can just turn the towel over, pat it dry a little bit more. Okay, leave that on the side. And now I'm just going to kind of fan these out and just kind of rotate them around. And again, use about 1/3 of the tomatoes. I love the green tomatoes. Green tomatoes are just great. The yellow. And it's like a reddish, almost like a blackish tomato. Now we're going to take a little bit of capicola ham. If you are a vegetable lover and just don't want to use the ham, you can. Okay, you can get away with it. Let me show you the package that you would look for. It's usually in the deli section. Okay, comes in a pack like this. Usually it's in around the 3 ounces. Okay, that you will need. Okay, so you may need 2 packages, or if you can just kind of get away with the 1. So about 1/3 of a pound total. I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna kind of use about half of this and just spread this around. Capicola ham is a very fatty ham. It's lightly spiced and it's smoked. It's in the cold cut section, okay, and usually the little bit of a specialty section of your supermarket. It is really, really tasty though. So if you've never had it, try it one day, have it for a sandwich or when you're making this torte. And it is, as you can see, very, very thinly sliced. So if you like thin sliced meats, this is perfect and right up your alley, just like that. We're going to take half of the pecorino romano and provolone cheese and just sprinkle this right over this right here. Perfect. 3 tablespoons of the panko now. So we're just going to kind of add another little bit of layer. Gives it a little bit of crunch right in the middle. Panko holds up really, really well. We're going to take the tomatoes again. Use another 1/3 of the tomatoes and just keep rotating these around. Looks so much like summer. And the black one right here. Another layer of the capicola. If you go to Italy, you'll be eating a lot of this on a lot of their sandwiches. You should have your oven preheating right now to 400 degrees because this is going to take about 35 minutes. You want it to have a nice golden crust, and then when it comes out of the oven, you want it to sit for about an hour, and then you're going to take it out of the springform pan, but only after the hour, after everything has really settled a little bit. So I want to layer some of the tomatoes towards the middle too. That is good. I'm going to finish this up now with the remaining cheese that I have. So it's a good amount of cheese in here, and of course that always makes it taste really good. And then you need a little bit of olive oil, so just about 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and you're just going to lightly drizzle it right on here. Very lightly, okay. And then I'm going to layer it with the tomatoes. And then this is going to be ready to go into the oven. Again, you want it to be a nice golden crust. Just scatter the colors around really well. And it's going to be just about the perfect amount for this. So about 3 cups. These tomatoes are very large, so it will actually be close to the 3-pound mark that you really need. And some are a little bit larger than others, so you may have to kind of double up on some of the colors. Okay. This is really, really tasty, just like this. Okay, the little bit of remaining cheese here, the Pecorino Romano, just give that a light sprinkling on here, just like that. And just drizzle just a little bit more olive oil on top. Just a very light coating of it. You can see how lightly I'm drizzling this. And now we're going to put this into a 400-degree oven for 35 minutes. And it's going to have, you're going to see this crust right in the corners here come out really nice and golden. Then we're going to let it sit. We're going to put this on a baking pan. I'm putting a little piece of parchment paper just in case anything was to leak out, or that it kind of protects it, and it's an easier pan to clean. So let's just bake this and we'll see how this comes out. So our heirloom tomato and provolone torte with the herb crust cooked for 35 minutes in 400-degree oven. Got nice and bubbly, the cheese. Gonna let it rest, let it sit here for about an hour. Then we will undo the springform pan and it will be ready to enjoy. Okay, so an hour went by. Now, let's see, because you want the water, everything to hold up really well. You can see the firmness of the crust right here, so it holds this really, really well. So, I hope everybody will make this. You're going to love this. I am going to put this on a beautiful platter. And let's just put this right over here. Just like that. And you can always just decorate this with some nice greens and just make it look beautiful. But isn't that colorful? So everybody, I hope you make this and have a great summer. Enjoy this.